understand about me. 'Cause I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby.
If you think about it, the way men use bro is literally a neopronoun. Bro's fried. He's fried. Oh, whose bag is that? Oh, that's bro's. Oh, that's his. I'm just saying. It's a little gay.
I don't judge you based on your disability.
Oh, that's tight. What do you judge me on?
Your actions.
The same actions that are highly influenced by my disability?
Exactly.
Do you take my disability into account when you're judging my actions?
Of course not, because I don't define you based on your disability. I hold you to the same standards as I would anyone else because I'm inclusive.
Sounds about right.
Chip on the left hand side. Pass the dutchie on the left hand side. It a go bun.
Give me the music, make me jump and from.
It a go done.
Give me the music, make me
Jano.
My STEM tools came in. All are from Therapy Shop. I will list prices and names. Honeycomb Sensory Brush, $6.99 USD. 10/10, never want to put it down. Soft and textured without being overwhelming.
Doink.
I'll need to wash it often, but well worth the work. Footsie Flock Tactile Sensory Ball Set, $9.99 USD. 7/10, doesn't make brain go BRRRRRR, but not bad. Single voice marble fidgets, $1.99 USD each. 9/10, unexpected plastic at the beginning but very yummy. Make brain go BRRR. Optimo Sensory Earmuffs, $27.99 USD. 110, perfect, amazing. Will wear forever, wish I bought sooner. Paid $7.99 for shipping. Everything came fast and in perfect condition.
Again on my choo-choo. Some bubble gum blowing bubbles, then I choo-choo. Some pink toes in my pink Jimmy choo-choo.
The Mandarin boy too. I can admit your drinking eyes never open. I am say somebody will die, and I hate hoping. Wishing that the tales let you cry, and I hate hoping. Someday I will go back outside and see her open.
Oh no, it's alright, thanks. He's helping me. They. Oh yeah, he's just gone to go and get me. They. I can't remember who served us. I think it was him.
I think one of the most entertaining things to do when it comes to transphobes is just to be completely oblivious towards them when they're trying to be mean to you. I used to work at Panda Express, and I remember there was this old guy who came in my work one time. While I was making his order, without any warning, he said, "You are a girl." I looked around and then turned back to him and said, "Sorry, who?" And he said, You're one of those trans people." And I just said, "Sorry, ma'am, what's trans?" And he got so mad. He was fuming to the point where I swear steam was coming out of his ears, and he started cussing me out, and then he left. Transphobes go on and on about how being misgendered isn't a big deal until it happens to them. So, moral of the story, you're allowed to gaslight transphobes just a little bit, as a treat.
To all of my palm-colored Jewish people out there, mutuals or not, I need you to sit down and listen for a second. If you come on this app and you talk about anti-Semitism, you need to also show yourself to be an ally of the Jews of color in your community. Because only talking about anti-Semitism does not cover it. It does not cover it. And I say this because existing as a Jew of color on this app is going to be more exhausting than you are ever going to know. It will be. Because not only is anti-Semitism a thing, I also have to deal with racism outside the community and in it. And oftentimes in it, it's not addressed. It's not talked about. Popular creators on here don't talk about it. Individual creators, you should talk about it anyway, no matter the size of your platform. You don't. Larger Jewish spaces outside of social media don't always talk about it, and it's very disheartening to exist as a person of color. And know that no matter the marginalized group that I'm a part of, no matter the space that should be inclusive and welcoming towards the people of color in its community, that it's not. And it's upsetting because I feel like Jewish folks especially, palm-colored Jewish folks especially, should be understanding this. This feeling of otherness in spaces that you should otherwise be included in. And you turn around and you do the same thing to Jews of color, so I'm not really understanding the disconnect right now. I'm gonna need you to get it together. Because this has been very harmful, and it's been going on for a while, and it's very tangible on this app if you follow, like, any Jew of color, if you just listen to the experience of Jews of color. And then no one says anything, no one does anything about it, other than the Jews of color who are already under attack from people outside the community and within it, and that's so frustrating. So I'm gonna need you to get your act together. Thank you.
Met this pretty thing, nice to meet you, mucho gusto, sweeter than a chew.
Are y'all offended when white people say, like, these things are my spirit animal?
Yes, but not in the way that you think. Now, you have to understand that linguistically, we're just not the same. That a lot of terms that are synonymous with indigenous people were not ones of our own, like the word chief or tribe. These are very clearly English words, and yet they've become synonymous with indigenous people of this land. And this is one of those things. It was something that was forced upon us, this term spirit animal. And the reality is, we don't have such a thing. I mean, you have to understand that every culture, regardless of wherever they're from, is molded and lives their life by the law of the land of which they occupy. This can include our clanships, in which we will use those names of those animals to identify with, like the Bear Clan. And due to the rise of popularity of paganism and New Ageism, they started using those terms, which then got forced onto us, because apparently we're the same. So it's offensive in the fact that everyone thinks that it's us, but it's not.
Where you get your grills from?
I got them from Johnny Dang.
You lying?
Yeah.
Where you really get them from?
I got them from my jeweler.
So yesterday, conservatives successfully voted to keep the price of insulin high. In yesterday's budget reconciliation bill, there was a provision to cap the price of insulin at $35 a month if you need it, whether you had Medicare or you got your insurance through a private insurer. The Senate parliamentarian ruled that actually you can't regulate private insurance through budget reconciliation, so this actually needs to clear a 60-vote threshold to be able to stay in the bill. Conservatives voted 43-7 to take out the private insurance portion of the bill. So if you're like most of us and have your insurance through private insurance and you're a diabetic who needs insulin, you're just fucked. You have to continue to pay the same egregious amount that you already do. Conservatives are playing with people's lives just because they don't want Democrats to get a win.
Robots is a film about the evils of for-profit healthcare, and I'm willing to bet a decent number of people watching that haven't heard that or considered that about this film don't even need me to go on. But I'm going to anyway. The film centers on Rodney, who travels to meet Big Weld, who's his inspiration, after he invents something to make the life of his working-class dad easier. Big Weld, however, isn't there. He's been ousted from the company and replaced with Ratchet. We learned through some shenanigans with Robin Williams and a slick boardroom presentation that Ratchet has changed the direction of the company. They are no longer manufacturing replacement parts and are instead only selling upgrades, upgrades, because that's what's profitable, that's what makes more money. The replacement parts are explicitly medicine within the movie. We see that when Rodney's dad, played by Stanley Tucci by the way, gets sick because he doesn't have a replacement part that he needs. Ratchet moves from replacement parts to upgrades in part because he's motivated by profit and also because he's motivated by an ideological disdain for the poor. The city literally has these sweepers that go around just collecting the poor underclass and taking them to the underground. When Rodney finds out about this, that the residents of the city no longer have access to medicine they need, he just rolls up his sleeves and starts making the equivalent of bathtub insulin and distributing it to the neighborhood. Because he's an inventor, he's a tinkerer, that's his talent. So he just does mutual aid to help out all of the robots. It's only once he finds out that his dad is sick and needs this specific part that then he goes on this hunt to try and find Big Weld. The movie makes clear in no uncertain terms that the drive for profit as associated with healthcare is evil. It will inevitably create a class of people who are excluded from healthcare. Either you can afford the premium upgrades or you can't, and you will just be swept into the underground. The movie praises innovation in service of your community and punishes innovation for the service of profit. Rodney doesn't want to show his little dishwashing invention to Big Weld to make money off it. He wants to show it to Big Weld because it helped his dad and he thinks it can help other people. Rodney's the fucking GOAT. In the film, the highest calling you could have, the greatest application of any talent, is to see a need and fill a need. And in the movie, profit gets in the way of that. Ratchet is just Martin Shkreli, just a shrewd businessman trying to make the maximum amount of money that he can, no matter how much damage he causes. And there is some kind of like great man liberal capitalist stuff going on because Rodney's little revolution he leads is just to reinstate Big Weld as the head of this monopoly company. But Big Weld's played by Mel Brooks and I love this movie, so I'll give it a pass.
My dear sweet baby, that is absolutely correct. You got it. That's the point.
Window! Open the door with your hands!
Can I take off my belt?
Take off your seatbelt. Slowly. Open the door. Keep your hands up. Stay away, face it away. Put the phone down.
I have the right to hold the phone.
Down.
Why can't I hold the phone?
Put the phone down.
Why can't I hold the phone?
Put
This is for my safety, sir.
Put the phone down.
This is for my safety.
Put the phone down.
This is for my safety.
Put the phone down.
This is for my safety.
Put the phone down. Put the phone down.
This is for my safety, sir.
Listen to my commands. Put the phone down.
This is for my safety, sir.
Put the phone down.
I cannot do it.
Put the phone down. Put the phone down.
I can't do it.
Put the phone down!
I can't!
Put the phone down!
Sir, I cannot do it!
Put the phone down! Drop the phone! Drop the phone!
Please, don't do this! I can't drop the phone! I can't! This is for my safety, I can't do it! I am sorry, I can't do it! I'm not gonna hurt you!
Drop the phone!
What's the difference between a socialist and a capitalist? Socialists want you to have food, housing, clothing, healthcare, education, without having to work 80 hours a week, working paycheck to paycheck, and without your life revolving around your job. Capitalists want you to prove to them that you're entitled to those basic human rights. And if you're not, you shouldn't have those rights. See, nobody, and I mean nobody, that they deserve those things. Being born is enough proof, and it should automatically give you those basic human rights. No one asked to be born. No one asked to be sick. So we all need to work together to provide everyone with those basic human rights. But capitalists don't understand that, and as long as they're living in their little bubble of delusion, we'll never have those things here in the US. That's why leftism is normality. Double tap if you agree.
The Socialist asks, why are younger people moving more to the left instead of the right? My girlfriend and I are doing pretty well financially as far as our generation goes. We both have degrees, we both have stable, good-paying careers, and we're both in good health. We're in our 30s, but purchasing a home would require choosing between a 2-hour-long commute or buying a house that no one who wasn't born into some money can afford to purchase responsibly. Don't even get me started on the financial implications of having children and how much it costs for us to earn the qualifications for our careers in the first place. Adjusted for inflation, my tuition costs the same as a 20% down payment on a house in the 70s. And we're like the best case scenario. It's so much harder for most people in our generation and for the generations that follow. But for most of our lives, the right has fought to maintain the economic status quo that seems designed to screw us while they try to impose religious and cultural ideals that we don't want. Why are we moving to the left? Because all the right has ever offered us are thoughts and prayers, and even those were disingenuous. Thanks for the question, and thanks for watching.
Damn, you fine as hell. Hey yo, think I can get you?
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no.
Further on my anti-capitalism is not communism take. I think an unfortunate side effect of our unwillingness to talk about communism as opposed to anti-capitalism is that people think that mutual aid is for like mitigating the effects of capitalism, and that's not true. I mean, it's a cool boon, but that's not the purpose of mutual aid. It was either Kropotkin or Malatesta who said that the revolution people will follow is the one that feeds them. The point of mutual aid networks is that after or during a revolution, those are the basis for which the communist/socialist society will build itself. Building a leftist society is hard work. And it can only be done with decades of preparatory work from generations before us. That's why we organize, not just to fight capitalism, but to build communism.
Tasty sandwich time. From the perspective of elites trying to protect the modern establishment, the role of public school isn't necessarily about learning math and history, but more about learning how to navigate bureaucracies, kneeling to authority, and taking the training wheels off and learning that this world is devoid of democracy. Why do you think so many public schools look like prisons? Also, the letter grade system is horrible and fails a lot of students because they feel like they're working for a letter grade instead of working within a system that benefits them and engages them. Also, that looks very tasty. I want to eat that.
When I posted this video, a lot of people were triggered that my child didn't immediately listen when I said no. I think most of this stems from the need for control when it comes to our kids. There's a common idea that if our children don't immediately comply, then they're not listening or respecting us, and I personally disagree. I do agree that there should be times when our children listen, no questions asked, but I also believe that they should have some control. A lot of us were raised with blind obedience and little to no control over our daily lives, and as a result, we expect the same from our kids. I think most of us can agree that as adults, we don't always listen when somebody tells us no or agree with other opinions. Personally, I want my children to learn that they are respected as little humans and that their voice matters too. I want them to tell me when they think I'm being unfair, and I want them to question when they don't understand why I'm saying no. This teaches them to stand up for themselves, and it builds resilience. No, this doesn't mean that they can just do whatever they want and never listen. It means that we are a team and we can have conversations about things and come to an agreement. I want there to be mutual respect between me and my kids.
Here's an example of autistic masking. This is how I used to walk as a kid. As you can see, there's something terribly wrong with how I walk. It's just too bouncy. It's too joyful. It must be punished. And punished it was. Middle school kids are little shits. Everybody knows that. But in middle school, what happened to me is there would be kids who'd come behind me and walk and imitate my walk, and their friends would laugh and make fun of me. Just because I existed, just because I walked the way I did. So I learned from a young age that how I was in the world wasn't okay, and I needed to change that in order to fit in order to not be made fun of constantly all day long, in order to not be bullied, in order to connect with others. And by the way, it's fucking exhausting.
Thinking politically about mutual aid. Mutual aid is the baseline foundation that we can build all of the other political organizing off of. If you have mutual aid, striking at your workplace and in tenants unions is easier. If you have mutual aid, political education is easier. Because you, one, have people there who are politically engaged and wanting to learn, but also it's a lot easier to get educated when you have a full stomach and don't have to worry about where you're going to sleep. Response to crises brought about by capitalism. Boom! You have mutual aid to set your foundation. To all of those people who want a general strike, or to educate the masses, or to organize politically for a better world, start with mutual aid.
Am I valid if I identify as... Yes. Yes. Now stop asking strangers what they think about your identity. It doesn't fucking matter. Fuck Fuck exclusionists.
This kind of response is so interesting to me psychologically, and you get it all the time. You levy any criticism against a systemic problem, and eventually conservatives will come in assuming that you are just bitter because you are a victim of said problem. And that the solution is not to change anything about the system, but for you individually to get over it. You claim that there are these problems with landlords in this country. Well, obviously you're just bitter that you're stuck being a renter, and you should really just get over that and buy a house. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Play the game better. Oh, you don't like the way the people on Centrelink are treated? Well, you should just get a job, because obviously the only reason you would care about any of these issues is because they directly affect you, because those are the only terms that conservatives are able to think in. The problem is not some systemic issue that can be resolved. It is a problem for you, personally, to deal with.
Howdy. So you see how I have that shirt on and how it looks kind of fucking boring? Well, I'm gonna change that and you're gonna watch it. Yeah? Deal? Cool. So I got a sketch going, I got a little yogurt container, you know the vibe. I'm actually primarily a visual artist, I just don't share it a lot, and I don't really know why. I guess it's because I don't get struck with, like, true inspiration that often. But this time, it hit me like a fucking truck. My intuition was whispering in my ear, and it was saying, you're gonna make a painting, and it's gonna be extra soggy, and then while it's still wet, you're gonna, like, stamp it onto your shirt, and, oh, it actually worked. I've never tried this before, but now that I know it's an option, I think I'm going to be fucking up a lot of clothes from this point on, if I'm being honest. Yeah, my too much gene kind of kicked in, but it was okay. I gave myself a little hug, and then, do you see the little safety pin eyelashes? I think that's a little bit creative, a little bit snazzy. Oh my god, cool.